Hi, my name is Bob Hill, and I'm the president of the Church of Scientology Mission of Riverdale at 308 Broadview Avenue in Toronto. This is Sunday service number 51. What we're going to talk about today is the therapy of laughter. I don't think that we've had enough laughter, at least in these recent times. So, today's sermon is based on the writings of L. Ron Hubbard from the book, The Creation of Human Ability. Now, laughter is definitely the relief of painful emotion. In our counseling, or in Scientology, when we work with people, many of our sessions end with the person laughing. So you have a person look at something that was troubling them, and all of a sudden they go, it's not really that complicated, and they start laughing. Before it was like really complex and really serious, and you really got to watch it. But after getting one of these sessions, they're looking at the thing as it is and laughing. So a cheerful person has a good grasp of statements made and a good sense of humor. A sense of humor, depending to a large degree upon the individual, a sense of humor depends to a large degree upon the individual's ability to differentiate and to see and reject situations which do not fit. Now, let's take a look at the current world scene. People turn on the news. There's not necessarily a lot of sense of humor in the news. You turn it on and it's quite serious and quite ridiculous. And so the person doesn't feel very happy. They don't feel like laughing after they've watched a news station for a half hour. They feel like, oh my God. Now along comes a guy and he watched the news for 5 minutes. And he's laughing about it. And he's like, well, why are you laughing? It's really serious. And he says, well, you got two groups of people here. One is talking about one thing, the other is talking about the other thing. They both hate each other. Nobody's using reason. So why do they get into all these arguments? Like, I'm not interested in, so it's such an outpoint. It's so ridiculous. I just feel like laughing about it. It's like watching, I don't know if you've ever heard of the World Wrestling Entertainment, but it's all drama. And it's designed to make you laugh. It's not serious. And that's kind of like what's going on in the world today. People are taking this situation way too seriously, and so there's no laughter. Does that make sense? Good. Now, in the 60s and the early 70s when I was growing up, in order to get people to laugh, you'd see these big gatherings and protests, and the Vietnam War was going crazy. And then all of a sudden you'd see this guy, and they were called streakers, and they'd run across with nothing on. And it was such an outpouring. People would just start laughing. They would be at these really serious things, and all of a sudden a streaker charges through, and people just start laughing. Now, I don't recommend you start streaking or that people start streaking, but I'm giving you an example of showing you the streaker did not fit into the situation. Okay? So the next thing I'm going to read to you is from the book, The Creation of Human Ability, is written by L. Ron Hubbard, and it's called The Remedy of Laughter. Now, the earliest known psychotherapy consisted of getting a patient to laugh. Laughter is rejection. A pre-clear, that's a person who's being audited or a new person who's just getting into Scientology, being continually inflowed upon by the physical universe at length, may find it difficult to reject anything. So that's quite a mouthful when you look at it. So you have a person and you have the physical universe constantly bombarding them. There's a COVID-19 epidemic, people are dying. There's drug overdose, there's this, there's that. So you have the physical universe constantly impinging on the person, so they forget to laugh. But then you have the guy or the gal, and they get to look at these things and they see the simplicity of it. Well, it's not really that bad. In fact, I saw a whole bunch of people walking around yesterday with masks on, and it seemed quite serious. So I looked at this woman and her daughter, and they had these really colorful masks. And I said, wow, those are pretty fantastic masks you have on there. Those are pretty cool. And they both started laughing. So all of a sudden, the seriousness of the illness was gone. They had these flashy masks on. I thought it was funny. They thought it was funny. So getting the person to reject something could be made to be a goal of counseling or auditing in Scientology. The best manifestation of this is laughter. Laughter includes both surprise and rejection. Now, you see how comedians use that. A comedian will say something that's completely outrageous, and people start laughing. They're rejecting it. He'll say something that's so obviously ridiculous that people won't take it in. Oh, that's not true. And they start laughing. So the individual is surprised into rejecting. In order to laugh, he must have laid aside some of his ability to predict. An individual who is serious has laid aside so much of the ability to predict that he now cannot be surprised into rejection. So a serious person, a person who's really serious, he can't predict, he can't reject anything. It all just comes in on him, and it's like, oh my God, the sky is falling. So he gets really serious, and because he can't reject any of the inflow. So the anatomy of mystery consists of, in this order, unpredictability. So if you got a mystery, you have unpredictability, confusion, and chaos. Now it's covered up because it cannot be tolerated. So you have a situation, like let's say a person's had a really traumatic situation in their life. It was unpredictable. It came in on them. There's confusion and chaos all around. Maybe they were in a car accident. And then they reject it, and they can't tolerate the amount of motion that occurred. So it became really serious, and they say, well, I just can't remember what happened. All I know that since that time, anytime I walk outside, I feel scared. I don't know what it is. Now, with auditing and counseling in Scientology, you bring a person into that particular incident that occurred. He looks at the simplicity of it. He sees it. He confronts the chaos, the confusion. It unravels. He's with a trained counselor. And he starts laughing. And all of a sudden, it's not so serious. So problems always begin with an unpredictability, deteriorate into a confusion, and then, if still unsolved, become a mystery, which is masked confusion. So you got that? Problem begins with unpredictability. Oh my God, what's happening? I don't know. It deteriorates into confusion. And then, if it's still not solved, it becomes a mystery. Oh, well, I guess there's just things that happen and we can't control them. So you have this masked confusion. It will be observed that as a person falls further and further away from the ability to laugh, he becomes more and more confused until at last he sees no point in any jokes. That's funny, eh? The person goes so far down and they're so serious and they've so far lost the ability to laugh that even if somebody tells them a joke, they go, yeah, okay, I'm sure you've seen it. Somebody's really serious. I know I've fallen into this. Somebody's really serious around me and I make some weird comment to try and get them to laugh, and they go, why are you saying that? Can't you see how serious I am? Can't you see that I'm really stuck in this? And I'll go, yeah, of course, I can see you're really stuck in it, but is it really that serious? Like a person calls you and all they do is talk about how bad everything is and life's a hell and etc. So the best thing to do would be to start, yeah, I can see red devils chasing me around with pitchforks. I guess it is a hell. Well, that might get the person out of that seriousness. You get the point? So, person falls further and further away from the ability to laugh. He becomes more and more confused until at last he sees no point in any jokes. He sees only embarrassment when confronted by laughter, and the whole action of laughter itself escapes him. Again, I go back, you take a look at society, you got somebody in the room and they're really out there, they're laughing, they're cheerful, and everybody else in the room is sitting around and they're kind of like, they're not into laughter and they're going, oh, that person is just ridiculous. There's something wrong with him. But the person who's laughing and making the jokes is actually the better off person. The guys that are sitting there being really serious and criticizing that person should listen to the jokes and try and find some laughter. So, the ability to laugh is rehabilitated in general by Scientology. So it's easier to laugh if you do a little bit of Scientology. As it advances the ability of the person to know. So you know more, it's easier to laugh, which is to say predict. Now, that's the end of the reference, by the way. But I want to tell you, I find, and I've studied Scientology now for going on 47 years actually. 47 years. And I've studied a tremendous amount of it. I've had a tremendous amount of counseling. And to me, what happens, the more knowledge I get, the more I understand, the more I see things, the funnier it becomes. Things become less and less and less serious. It doesn't mean they're gone. It just means they've become less and less serious, and I can laugh about them and I can do something about it. And as I become more conscious and more aware, I study more of those books, I study more of the material, I listen to more lectures, I receive more counseling, I become more awake, more aware, more conscious. When that happens, it becomes less and less serious to me. Things become simpler and simpler and simpler. They're not so complicated. And it increases my ability to make others laugh because I can point that out to them. So that's it for today's sermon. I will now read to you the Creed of the Church of Scientology. We of the Church believe that all people of whatever race, color, or creed were created with equal rights. That all men have inalienable rights to their own religious practices and their performance. That all men have inalienable rights to their own lives. That all men have inalienable rights to their sanity. That all men have inalienable rights to their own defense. That all men have inalienable rights to conceive, choose, assist, or support their own organizations, churches, and governments. That all men have inalienable rights to think freely, to talk freely, to write freely their own opinions, and to counter or utter or write upon the opinions of others. That all men have inalienable rights to the creation of their own kind. That the souls of men have the rights of men. That the study of the mind and the healing of mentally caused ills should not be alienated from religion or condoned in non-religious fields, and that no agency less than God has the power to suspend or set aside these rights overtly or covertly. And we of the Church believe that man is basically good, that he is seeking to survive, that his survival depends upon himself and upon his fellows and his attainment of brotherhood with the universe. And we of the Church believe that the laws of God forbid man to destroy his own kind, to destroy the sanity of another, to destroy or enslave another's soul, to destroy or reduce the survival of one's companion or one's group. And we of the church believe that the spirit can be saved and that the spirit alone may save or heal the body. So there you go. So my advice to you, laugh and enjoy life more. There's things to laugh about. So if you want to learn more about helping yourself and others, join us next Sunday. Today, also, I'd like you to, our founder, L. Ron Hubbard, his birthday was yesterday, but what the heck. If you're listening to this, wish him a happy birthday. That guy used to like to laugh a lot. He made a lot of jokes about things. He was a very funny person. So, again, help yourselves and others, and join us next Sunday for the next Sunday service. Thank you.